teams from around the state that utilized the ballpark for the weekend, and it was very successful event. Our next tournament is July 20th. The Matsu Showdown is a men's tournament, very competitive tournament. It's known as basically the best tournament in the state that happens in the summer. And we expect anywhere from 32 to 35 teams to show up, and they represent communities from all over Alaska. We have a team from Nome that comes, Juneau, of course Talkeetna, Big Lake, Anchorage, Homer, Kenai, places like that. So we'll be hosting that community that weekend here in town. In August, we're gonna host 2 of the state championship tournaments at the ballpark. This is around mid-August. There will be a co-ed tournament, I think the second week in August, and then a men's tournament in the third week of August. And that'll be essentially the end of the season as far as operating there. We are very excited to hear from the City Council that there's plans to install bathrooms and pave the parking lot at the ballpark this fall. So super excited about that. We did have a business come in and grade the parking lot for us. We do that pretty much every year. So it's nice and usable during the summer. So hopefully this is the last time the parking lot has to be graded. So we're very excited for that. Over the last approximately 3 years, we've been working on an expansion plan to expand the ballpark. And we've been operating above capacity for the past 7 or 8 years. We have capacity for 48 teams. That's if we have 12 teams per night for the 4 nights, which fills up the fields. We have 3 games each night, 6:30, 7:40, and 8:50 roughly. And so there's 4 fields, 3 games a night on each field. And we actually have overcapacity on a couple of our nights, Tuesday and Wednesday, to accommodate the demand. And we actually turned away some teams at registration time. We would have had close to 60 teams this year. However, with rotational schedule having more than 12 teams per night, some weeks teams have buys, so they don't get to play that week. That's so we can accommodate more teams. But we've been over capacity for quite some time. Our organization started saving money, collecting funds from our membership about 3 years ago, and putting together some plans. We hired a local engineering firm to put together a document and a site plan. And then we had another firm called Stantec out of Anchorage, who is a contractor that builds ballparks. We had them put together basically a proposal for us last year. And we've assembled those together here in a binder, and I wanted to give everyone a copy of that so that you can take a look at it. We also have a drawing, Adam. This is Adam, our executive director for Matsu Softball. If you can share those real quick. This is a artist concept drawing of what we're hopeful to work towards over the next period of years. But what it would do is add 2 more fields to the 4-field complex for a total of 6, which would allow us to accommodate 50% more teams at the ballpark, larger tournaments, larger leagues, things like that. But one of the things we're really excited about is that it would allow us to partner more closely with the local girls fast pitch programs. The high schools in the area have a spring tournament late April, and they bring about 30 teams into the community from all over the state. And they are very challenged to find location to hold their tournament. The last few years, they've been using various fields throughout Palmer and Colony area, blading and shoveling snow off of them and stuff to get them ready because the season starts pretty early for high school. So they've asked us numerous times if they could host a tournament at Bumpus. However, the weather in late April is such that the fields are muddy, there's snow. It's just not really practical to try to have heavy equipment moving snow so they can, it just doesn't work. Some of the fields in Palmer experience quite a bit of wind in the winter that blows the snow away, and those become playable sooner. But the idea is for that plan is to have 2 all-weather turf fields installed. The turf fields become playable much sooner than dirt because there's no mud that has to dry up. And if we did that, we could accommodate the high school tournament in the spring, as well as the high school could use it during their season as available. And then there's several local girls fast pitch club teams that need space for games as well. In fact, one of the clubs approached us about hosting a tournament this summer, and so we've been talking to them. So there's other groups than just the Matsu softball that could take advantage if we were able to expand the fields. And then there's also ideas about having a playground. And a playground is something that really we've been desirous of for some years at the ballpark, because a lot of parents come, they bring their kids and families, and we do have a sand pit, semi-covered with netting and stuff for the littles to play in. But if they had some equipment, it would just really be a nice feature somewhere down the road. So what I thought I would do is distribute copies of this proposal to you folks today. I also have a copy for Scott Bell. However, I notice he's not here today, so maybe I can give that to somebody that can get it to him. And then I'm wondering if it would be acceptable to try to get on the agenda for the next Parks and Rec Commission meeting in a couple months, give you some time to look at this plan, come up with some questions, and ultimately we would like to partner with you to figure out how can we expand the ballpark to accommodate this demand that we can't meet right now. How can we keep Bumpus Ballpark a super high quality, desirous place to play? Everybody wants to come to Bumpus. We put in a lot of time and effort to maintain the ballpark at a high level. In fact, our membership has spent $9,800 this year already on fencing repairs. We've painted the bleachers, which is quite a big effort. These are 35-year-old wooden stacked bleachers. We have 8 of them, 2 for each field. And we're working through our painting project. We're getting ready to paint the concession stand next, as well as the dugouts. And then we just had a 14-yard delivery of special dirt, infield dirt, delivered to the ballpark so that we can use that to repair holes in the outfield and keep our infields really nice. So the softball community is able to help financially with this expansion. We have manpower in our organization. We have plumbers, constructors, woodworkers, builders, every trade you can imagine just about is in our association because these guys play softball. So we've been able to garner a lot of in-kind labor and donated support. And bottom line, the first thing that we need to do in this plan is we need to build a small road next to the hardball field that's there. Right next to Bumpus, there's a large baseball field that the American Legion uses. I think that's the city of Wasilla property as well. But there isn't really any access back to the backside of the field where that pictorial shows where it goes. So the first thing we need to do is build a small road and clear a clearing behind the ballpark so that we can have folks come and volunteer to cut wood and start clearing the land and things like that. So as we look through all the various tasks that are in here, kind of the first thing that needs to start is an access to this area so we can begin working on it. As it is now, it's not really accessible. There's a small road in between the 2 ballparks for like field equipment and maintenance and things like that, but it's not accessible for like dump trucks and flatbeds and equipment that would be needed to work on this proposal. And so since building the road, and this is kind of way outside of the scope of work for Matsu softball, that's not really something we can get a grant for or that kind of thing. So that, just to let you know, that's kind of the first thing that we need to do to get this started. But I'll go ahead and distribute this, and then if I could please get on the agenda for the September meeting and circle back and touch base, and at some point if we can go through a question and a work period or some way to get together our heads together and discuss this down the road at your leisure would be much appreciated. Like I say, we've already been working on this for about 3 years. And so we bring it up at our board meetings and things like that. And we've been in touch with Eric Shaw at Public Works. He's like, we need to get a plan together. So we do have the plan now. We have it very comprehensive in a way that we can speak to it. And then, however, I'm sure it's going to take years down the road to work through this, but we would like to start getting the ball rolling and start working with the city in a meaningful way to try to advance this project. And then on a side note, I wanted to mention that when the ballpark was built, back in the mid-1990s. They did a great job. The fencing's super rugged. The fence posts are encased in concrete. The backstops are commercial grade, heavy duty. They've held up now for going on 30 years. However, when the ballpark was installed, they did not put in any foul poles. Each playing surface has a foul pole down the right field line and the left field line. It's a yellow vertical pole so that as balls go flying, the umpires can see if it's fair or foul, obviously, right? Well, the Massachusetts Softball Association back in the day went ahead and put in some rudimentary poles. They're rather small, and with the gale force winds we've had over the last 30 years at times, some of them gotten bent, and they're not the nicest looking feature of the ballpark right now. So this spring, when we were working with McKinley Fence to do this $6,000 fencing repair job that we had done, we had them quote us a cost to put in foul poles for the field, which I have here. It's $3,800 in total for 8 poles to be mounted. And these are 3-inch galvanized, 12-foot high poles they would mount permanently. And I would like to submit this quote for your consideration and find out if there's any possible way Parks and Rec or City of Wasilla with their resources could consider having foul poles put in for us at the ballpark. So that's this piece of paper I'll give you, and then I'll pass these out. Okay, and that's really all I had. I'm not sure if there's any other things I can offer at this time.
So I just kind of had this question. Once upon a time, there was a similar proposal, different park, different plan, but and a question came up of insurance.
Okay.
And I don't know if anyone had talked to you or if that's something under Public Works, but it at some point it would help to cover yourself as well as anyone that was on the property.
Sure. We do have that, and that's part of our existing management agreement, is that we have insurance. So we have liability insurance for our board, as well as in conjunction with the management agreement that we sign every year with the city. So we do have that.
I just kind of vaguely remember something that had to do with insurance having to do with the area that was to be built and changed because of all the different people in and out, and that it had to be somewhat kept up to par, etc. But I know that your organization is not a fly-by-night organization. You've been around, and it's just it's great that there's that many people that still stay active and play on teams and want to get together, because social media says otherwise, right?
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, but I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Because it sounds like it's a good deal all the way around.
Yeah, we have about 750 members in our organization, and then the idea behind this plan is to allow multi-use, maybe not just softball, but there's some walking trail plans in here as well. There's space to have like a frisbee disc course, golf course area, and then stuff for other recreationalists beyond just ourselves. So I'm hopeful that this could be a community asset that more user groups could use other than just softball. And it's in a great location. It's beautiful there in the forest, and I think there's a number of different things that could be available to the community through this endeavor.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming today.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say again, to have an organization like this in our community, the city of Wasilla needs to make sure we value it. So one thing, and I just want to shout out to Mr. Dan over here. You've done an amazing job of keeping our committee advised on what you guys have been doing, the process and everything. We really appreciate that a lot. Our committee has certain power, of course, in trying to get the city of Wasilla committee or the city council to listen to budgetary advisory like this. And that's why I hope the city of Wasilla does. At the end of the day, I hope they value an organization like you, because that's what we need. We need people like yourselves who realize that the infrastructure, not only for an organization like you guys, but for maybe other park users and other organizations as well, that's what we need. We need people like you guys who are putting back into it. You guys are giving it all you can, and I applaud that a lot about your organization. I applaud a lot about every time you give us great information. So that's what we need. We need organizations that take skin in the game. They realize that, hey, you can either sit back and wait for another organization to change it, or you guys can be the ones to figure out the funding, figure out the leadership. So yeah, this is awesome, and anything that I can do on my side, I'll definitely be all about it. So
It's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Tammy, can I give you Scott's copy? Are you able to get that to me?
Yep.
Thank you.
Much.
Thank you. And is there anybody that's not here?
Eric, do you have one of those, or does he already have one?
He does not. I want to get one to him.
Well, if you hand me a couple, I'll get one to him and Robert, and
Okay.
actually there's 4 of them all together.
Okay,
You get what you need.
Give you 2.
That's enough, I'll hand mine to them.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, thank you
Get
very
it in
much.
the right hand so it gets moving.
Appreciate that, Jesse.
Thank you, appreciate
And
it.
then here's the powerful quote that I got from McKinley Fence, and I'm not even sure if this is the correct forum to submit that.
Maybe give it to Scott.
Okay. There we go.
Pass it on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
you.
Appreciate it.
I'll nod to you when you walk by. Thank you so much.
Do we have any unfinished business? Committee of the whole?
I have nothing for unfinished business. I'd like to make a motion to move on.
I'll second.
Does anyone want to enter committee of the whole?
I'd like to make a motion to enter as committee as a whole.
I'll second.
Thank you. So, we have some nice artwork for the proposed park across the street for Nunley Park. And I would really encourage everyone to look at all the different features that are offered. I don't think this is something that everyone has to do everything all the time, but it is a very nice design. And there's a handy QR code to have to put in your input. But also, you know, if you have friends that use the parks or friends that are interested, please have them put in get their input also. The idea is to, you know, have some new life at this park and also to make it ADA compliant and offer some additional parking and features that it currently doesn't have. Thoughts?
One thing that I really like about this new design is the fact that we can get more users over there. By having the amphitheater, it's kind of drawing in now the new user base that we're seeing over at our parks, especially with like the music in the parks and stuff like that. We are seeing a huge demand, it seems like, for families in our community right now. So by having an area that allows for families to have music going on and a little kids area and everything, this is great. I think that the community feedback is also something that we definitely need to get the word out there about, because yeah, this is a great design that once people see it, I think there's going to be a lot of really positive feedback on.
Yeah, I'll also say I'm a big fan of all the parking. I know that's a problem over at Nunley especially, but at a lot of our parks there's a big parking problem. So increasing 3 different spots to park is great on all sides. Pickleball, again, another user group that's very active right now. And then expanding our community garden I think is awesome. And I love to see train-themed play equipment. Love that little detail in there. But it looks great, and I'm excited to see, maybe how the plans change going forward, or if we can stick to something close to what it is right now. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
So just a reminder, QR code, encourage your friends to get their 2 cents in, comment. So the more feedback and the more people who give their opinions, what they like or dislike, the better it'll be to shape it up the way the community would like it to be.
I did have a question about the dog park. I was curious of what the city code really is for dog parks. Do we have like a code, what a dog park is, or what exactly does the city have to offer someone at a dog park in terms of like, hey, if 2 dogs get in a fight or something, just stuff that was kind of in the back of my mind is now we have new parks with these new areas. I know the city code has definitely not been updated for a lot of that stuff. So I was kind of curious of what exactly the city's responsibility is of owning a dog park. What do we have to do to maintain it?
I don't have all the answers for that right now. That's a lot. But I'm definitely willing to get all to Eric and the guys in the main office to get you some answers back for the code and stuff. We do have one out at the campgrounds that we maintain. Code compliance deals with a lot of the dog issues and stuff like that. They go and respond to that, get all the statements, how that all functions, that's their part of it, and I stay out of their business. As far as the code goes, that's the city, but we can definitely check into that and see if there's any more intel maybe to help you with what it is you're looking for. Or you're definitely feel free to walk in even to the public work area and ask them, hey, can I get some information on that? Because that's more their arena than it is mine. That'd be more like planning or something like that to get you what you need.
Anyone have any questions about the trail at campground? So I did stop by Public Works today, got a little information about the trail, and that there is a grant, and I was told that the grant also covered paving, which would be excellent. Is that,
I don't think the grant covers the paving. I think it'll cover the gravel that goes down on the path. There'll be multiple steps to getting this from where it is right now to a finished component where it's actually paved. So I'm not sure about the paving. From what I understand, what I see in the grant as far as what was talked about from Eric Scholl, I think it was a number of about 37,000. Let me get to the right page. 37.5 grant approved for from Matsu Trails. So, and then I believe we're matching that as well. So I don't think that's enough to get all the paving involved in it or not. And I might be speaking out of turn on that. But my initial thought process of knowing the cost of what it takes to do all that stuff, I would assume that would have to be a phase 2 as far as what I was understanding and what I read down here.
because I know that a part of it is to have this trail to be ADA compliant, so that, you know, user groups from young to old would be able to use it.
Definitely, that's the plan.
Right.
For the finished outcome of it. I just don't know if that's all gonna happen in one phase or 2 phases. So I can definitely get answers on that for you.
Knowing how our short summers work, it's, I would say it's gonna carry over for a little while, but that's just my 2 cents. Anything else? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to be in a committee as a whole.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any audience comments? Staff comments?
All right, I'll take it over. First off, I just wanted to say, I hope the city of Wasilla, everyone that is in our administration here is really listening and seeing the changes that we're having in the community right now. First off, just want to say again, amazing work that Jesse, your crew, everything that you guys have done this year has been really phenomenal to see. Seems like the city's really at a changing point. Everyone that's kind of in our administration now, I hope sees kind of the fact that we got people that, hey, we're ready to kind of see changes. We're ready to kind of get some answers. I know our committee was kind of having a weird crossroads with the funding here for a little while. We weren't sure of the funding and all that. Now that we're navigating through that, I think the city needs to really realize, okay, we need to give answers to some of our organizations that have been wanting to get more involved. They want to put more skin in the game, making sure that we have the right leadway, not only now, but also for the future, making sure that these projects are being built for the next 5 to 10 years is really, really important. So the city's kind of really at a major crossroads now. We haven't been talking about these parks for a long time. Now we're at that point where we get to implement these big changes. So I hope that everyone who is in the city who does actually care about this park, now's your time to speak up. Now is our chance to really make the change that we want to. So this is great to see, and I can't again tell you enough how much seeing it every day when I see the people from the Special Olympics that was doing the torch run this year to 4th of July, the park really gets used. It was amazing seeing cars down both sides of Nelson this year. I mean, it was really incredible to see, but with that being said, it is our responsibility to make sure the public has a safe environment to use. And so anything like this, like with parking lots and all that, that's gonna be great to see. So thank you again.
Yeah, I'll pretty much second what Reese is saying over here. I'm looking forward to all these big changes we're seeing. I love this dog park idea. What a great way to use some space that's not really being used. And there's like Lucille is not that far, but it's still far enough for some people who are right here in the city. So I think this is a great idea. I'm just excited by a lot of what we're seeing. And as for Dan, I look forward to looking through this plan, and we always welcome you back, of course. So hopefully, you know, we can look into some of these changes you're trying to make and talk about them in the future, and see how we can be most helpful to you guys as well. Thank you.
I did actually have one last question. You mentioned homeless and the vandalism and all that. From your expertise side, what can the city or what can our committee possibly do to maybe even help that? I know it's hard because, as you know, it's a nationwide issue right now that every major town and every major world's having a lot of issues right now. And I know the city of Wasilla has a great policy. They're very good about when we do have issues, unlike other places where they're a little bit more hesitant. The city's been giving us a great, they really fix the issue when it is an issue. But was there anything that you'd have to say that you might want to tell people, or what you might say?
On my end, I know code compliance gets beat up over this a lot, and they spend a lot of time involved in this. Maybe getting more involvement where the attorneys, you know, I know that we're trying to move forward and try to get some better aspects to where when we go in and deal with it, that we can deal with it in a manner to where it's not so easy to come right back. And I'm not sure whether it's a code change or what it is that needs to happen there. But I know that's something that I hear a lot dealing with code compliance and PD. Those guys are awesome because I deal with it in the park. As soon as I make a phone call, they're there within minutes and they're responding. They're dealing with an already heavy workload, but they always take time to make sure that our staff and everything is covered and that the people in the parks have as safe of a place as possible. I know code compliance is riding through there a lot. There's been a lot of talk about bringing the rangers back to get just a little more coverage in and out of those areas. Like for us, we closed our day at 3:30. A lot happens between 3:30 and midnight. So maybe get some more, bring some of that back a little bit and actually have people that are accountable and keeping track of what they're actually doing and what they're dealing with. Because it's just walking around doesn't do it. You gotta be involved. And we need more community help with that because the community, you know, we have cameras in a lot of places and it's amazing you see some of these things where people are tagging stuff and maybe you don't have the greatest picture to where you can't go after them, but you see multitudes of people walk by and don't say a word about it and just sit there and let them do it. So I think it's kind of a community problem as well of people not being so scared to speak up and say, hey, quit doing that. This is our park. We like this area. Would you know, please not do that, or make the effort of making a phone call to the police to where they can deal with it on the spot because they're not afraid to deal with it, but you got to catch them in the act. And you know, you can't just say, oh, so-and-so might've done it. You got to actually have physical interaction to where they're getting there in time to actually deal with it. And they're trying, and they're doing a heck of a good job among all the other stuff they get to deal with.
Thank you. And I want to make a comment. So for all of us who went to the parade this year, it turned out really well. Everyone in the whole section where I was, including my grandkids, had a great time. Everyone was behaving well. This is a big deal, and yeah, and it happens. But anyways, everyone had a great time. The floats were, I mean, it was just a lot of fun. And also, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for, you know, pushing forward with our future developments and parks. And I know it takes a long time to get the wheels turning, but it looks great. And I'll just say this for myself on the commission side, sometimes we don't see anything happening, don't see any funding, and you just wonder what's happening with it all. So it's nice to see that there's some progression and things are moving forward with that. So, and the parks all look really nice. And I know that it's different flower crews and different people doing different parks, but it looks very nice considering the fact that I know that budgets are tight and everyone has to watch.
Yeah, we have a new person in our flower crew this year, Logan, and she is, all the flowers in town you see are done by the same crew. The watering, that's kind of a separate crew that does the watering, and they also do all the deadheading and stuff like that. So there's a lot of time and effort that goes in this, and a lot of people probably don't understand. It runs all weekend as well. This doesn't stop just because our work week stops. There's a crew of people that come in, make sure the flowers are watered through the weekend so they don't die in the heat. And then we also have crews take care of the trash in bathrooms. And those boots on the ground are our best asset. Those guys, they show up every day with a smile on their face, and they deal with a lot of crazy stuff sometimes, including the people. You know what? They come back every day. They got to smile again, and let's go again. And I can't thank the crew and staff that I have enough, because they do a wonderful job, and they make me look good. And they're the ones that should be commended for the work they do, because they do a lot of effort, and they don't just walk by something, they'll pick it up, and you can't train that into people. That's either somebody's got that or they don't. I'm just fortunate that I've been very good at picking the right people and getting them in the right place, and it's been very successful, and we're very happy and very blessed to have them.
Thank you, Jesse. Any last comments? Meeting is adjourned.